Welcome back to Loaded and Rolling. It's day 2 of the F3 Future of Freight Festival. I'm Thomas Wasson, and it is a special edition here. We get to do the live shows. Going to give a quick shout out to our sponsor. We're going to dive right in. We're going to be thanks for Cox Group. If you don't know who they are, they're a WBE certified asset-based turnkey logistics solutions company located throughout North America with 22 million square feet of distribution space and over 1,000 power units. Visit www.warehouseservices.com for more details. All right, now that we're out of the way here, going to have a wonderful show here. Going to be a two-parter, 2 guests on today. Before we begin, in the first segment, we'll be having Tyler Harden, Chief Product Officer and Board Member at TTN Fleet Solutions. And then coming up in the second half, we'll be welcoming on Blake Lappan, founder of No Dwell, Inc. Wonderful conversation, short on time. We're diving right in. All right, let's welcome Tyler here. Tyler, pleasure to get to talk to you again. Always fun. We've had you on last year as well. And so for folks who are unaware, tell us about yourself and let's catch up.
Sure. So Tyler Harden, Chief Product Officer. I lead the strategy and product development at TTN Fleet Solutions. We released a new product today inside of Fleet Assist that's really exciting. I can talk about that. But my background is I'm a diesel technician by trade, and I like fixing stuff, but also helping others fix stuff too.
And speaking of which, this rapid fire demo, they're super fun. 7 minutes, and that's all you get. It's kind of like XM radio. They cut you off at 59:42. Tell us a little bit about what the demo was and what did you do?
Well, first off, it's absolutely nerve-wracking. Let's just say that. The setting cannot be better. You have 7 minutes to try and figure out what you're going to say. You have so much to say in so little time, but I think we did a pretty good job. My developer, Brandon, he did an amazing job. I brought him up on stage with me. He actually developed the technology we were demoing. So what other better person to do that? But had a great time up there. Today, we released something that's pretty cool. It's really a simple little tool to help fleet managers when their drivers break down. And all it does is you can start a breakdown as a fleet manager, and then you can just text that breakdown start to a driver, and they complete the information. They don't need logins. They don't need credentials. Nice little text message, and then a service truck or a tow truck comes and saves the day.
So the driver says, hey, boss, I'm on the side of the road. I need help. I use the app. I'm like, stand by. I'm going to send this text to you, and then off to the races.
Yes. So ultimate efficiency on everywhere. You have to get that information from the driver. When you and Grace and I were talking about that, like, drivers got all the information that you need, and playing that telephone game sometimes there's some stuff that gets missed. This helps with that, and plus for the fleet manager, you're wearing 17 or 20 different hats that day. Breakdown's not really something you anticipated, and this is an easy tool to just get it to the driver.
Let's talk about the rest of the platform as well. One of the cool things of what you do is for smaller fleets who don't have the capabilities of a large, well-developed maintenance system, how does that platform help out? I came from a mega carrier, so there is always a maintenance department, but for folks who don't have that, how does it help?
Yeah, so our Fleet Assist platform is, I'll call it like a light maintenance system, right? So it's designed for unplanned, but there's also planned stuff that you can do in there as well. You can schedule things. But it gives you a really good view of the performance throughout the event, your network, cost, VMRS coding. There's a lot of really powerful stuff that most big fleets are used to that is baked into the software.
And looking at the state of fleet maintenance technology today, we've all been in the biz for a minute. What are some of the biggest things? You've had the rapid fire demo recently, got to talk about. Where is the technology moving towards for folks who are trying to get into and understand, I guess, what the playing field is right now?
Yeah, it's definitely that mobility solutions out there, getting into fleet maintenance. The maintenance department is like the last on the budget list of getting technology. Sales and brokerage and all that. There's all this crazy technology, but maintenance is kind of like last, but I feel like there's a lot of that that's coming, and we're trying to stay in front of that. I believe we are staying in front of that with our solutions. So, it's got to be quick, it's got to be nimble, it's got to be simple to use. It can't be, overly complicated.
And looking at the most common issues, when I manage fleets, DVIRs was a big one. They don't fill them out right. They don't take the time. What are some of the biggest things that fleets are hoping to use this technology to tackle that's their most pressing issue?
Well, driver satisfaction is probably the biggest one. you're a driver, you've been broke down, you might have a good experience, you might have a bad experience. Typically, they're not good experiences in general, but when you have to stay on hold for, say, 20 or 30 minutes while you're trying to get somebody to help you, that's kind of a problem. So I think that as a solution, getting to those drivers quickly is probably the biggest.
And using the technology and having that, I mean, is that something where I've had that happen? A large fleet, 45-minute wait times. The driver's already mad. Statistically, they're more likely to quit. It costs like $5,000 to replace the driver back in 2019. How quick can we be using like TTN solutions and stuff? Do you speed up that process, or is it more end over end on the back end to help speed up like the payments, the orders?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, all the above, really. The consolidated AP is probably the most understated but highest value that we have as a company and as an organization. But those workflows, we curate them with you to start, so we really understand where your business is. If you're utilizing us in an overflow capacity and you want to kind of run your show during the day, you can do that. But we look at those workflows and map that out. And typically, we try to get information, like I said earlier, directly from that driver. So whether we're using in-cab technology, we have integrations to Platform Science. We've done other projects with in-cab technology, but got to get that information from the driver directly.
That's the cool feature too, because I love people talk about automation and API, but really in the maintenance space, the trucks now are more willing to share data. You can pull the data up. Was that one of the early low-hanging fruits? Because I knew that I had dashboards when I managed trucks, but I always didn't know like what it meant. And so then I'd have to deal with somebody else, and I had to like go into a dealership. Is that part of one of the processes? Because it felt like before you had 3 different pieces, and they never talk to each other, and you can never figure out what your order status is.
Well, and that's what the nice thing is with our products, and that's really what we've been honing in on, is trying to give you a one source of truth. Typically, you have maintenance systems that have a lot of analytics, and you can see a lot of things. But when you get to breakdowns, you don't really have that level of detail, and so that's where we bring in our analytic tools and how we measure the workflows and the data that we collect along the way, and that gives you the visibility for everything.
So if I'm a fleet, I want to do a better job with maintenance. I mean, if you look at one of the DOT weeks, out of service percentage was like 20-something%.
Crazy.
Yeah, so like 1 in 4 is technically not good to drive. We need to fix it. What are the things these fleets need to focus on first? If I'm really bad, I want to get good, talk to TTN. What do you tell them to look at first?
You talked about it, you hit on it, DVIRs, I say that all the time. I know it's cliche and you over and over and over, but the pre and post inspection is probably the most important thing. And then, if you're doing maintenance and you're doing preventative maintenance on, DOT inspections or any of that stuff, make sure you have a provider that's going to actually inspect the vehicle. No offense, but you can just check a box real fast without actually visually looking at it. So that's the big thing. And yeah, the brake check week was just insane. Those numbers, it's crazy. I don't know how it happens.
How do you miss you hear them typically? The brakes are, it's kind of.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, looking ahead, because we're looking at the roadside process, I want to tie it into like driver retention as well. I feel like a lot of times the retention process is, even if it's not the fleet's fault, it becomes the fleet's fault. Is that something where, given the sizes of the fleets, is there different characteristics when we're looking to adopt the solution? Does size matter? Are they looking at different priorities or across the board?
Yeah, no, size of fleet on the road doesn't really matter. You run in the same process. I think where we see kind of the biggest value is if you're running interstate and you're kind of in different corridors that you're not maybe familiar with, and you need a solution to back you up when you don't have anybody to call, right? So that's kind of where we come up. But I think as far as driver satisfaction goes, the density of our network allows us to get to a driver's issue faster. And make sure that driver's comfortable. But we also do things like we'll do ride share. So if we have to Uber or Lyft them somewhere, we can do that. We do hotel accommodations if they're staying late or that stuff. So there's a lot of things that we provide for that driver underneath the fleet direction, of course. But we're all about the driver all the time. We got winter weather coming up. That's a huge thing. We do 15-minute winter weather checks to make sure everybody's safe and everybody's warm and comfortable. Breakdown solutions are not good. And when you're broke down on the side of the road and you got an ice over issue, it's double bad situation, right? So, those are important to us and making sure that the drivers are satisfied.
I think the end over end is cool because a lot of fleets I felt like that was another pain point was truck is down, I'm in shop 2 to 3 days, what do we do now? And then it goes to another department and you get stuck in this Kafka-esque world of where the driver's now mad. They're like, I'm trying to get a bus or I'm trying to get a ride. So that's one of the solutions, the offerings you're giving as well to these smaller fleets where it's like, look, don't worry about it. I'll get you an Uber back and forth. I got a hotel nearby. I'll coordinate with the dealership, kind of like an assistant. You are the roadside.
Yeah. Even large fleets too. Matter of fact, we have one of our fleets that uses us quite a bit, and we do that a lot. They're very, very driver-centric, obviously, but they are overly driver-centric when it comes to that, and hotels are always something that's on the list every week. But so it's just making sure the driver's safe and they get what they need.
So looking ahead, getting your outlook, mobile apps are a big one. I mean, for drivers, that's still the final frontier right now because they have like 1,200 different apps on their phone for every broker. What are you thinking of? What are you most excited for as we're moving into the next year?
Let's see, 2025?
2025, yeah. Time flies, right? I feel like last year I asked you about 24. I'm like,
yeah, I know, yeah. Well,
Groundhog Day.
No, so for me, I think telematics and leveraging some of the maintenance data out of the telematics, I think is something that will be in the future. I think there's some companies that are doing that now. You got buzzwords like machine learning and AI and those types of things that are happening. But I think we'll get smarter and smarter, and we'll mirror that with some of the processes for managing maintenance.
I think that's the big issue. There's all this data, there's all these codes, all these fault codes, and then like trying to find the right one. Looking ahead here, I'm curious about, and we got a little bit of time left.
Yeah.
When you're looking to design an app for the drivers, is that something where they do prefer more the mobile one, or is also integrations within a fleet's existing app? Is that one of the other avenues you take as well at like TTN? Do you have like a special? Because I think platform science is one of the
Yeah, so we're on the marketplace in platform science. Our app can kind of be installed anywhere. It's a progressive web app, so it's fluid in where it can go and what it can do. But as far as designing the app, I have a preference. I like the dark mode. So we have dark mode and light mode on our app, which that was my only contribution to the app design, by the way, was the light and dark mode. But Brandon, when we looked at that, it's easy to click buttons. It's simple stuff. Don't put a bunch of stuff on the page that doesn't pertain to whatever you're working on. Walk the driver through. They don't. It's not like they have a lot of time or a lot of ability to kind of run through all these different questions. Just the questions that need to pertain to that order, and then real quick submissions. And once that's submitted, then the workflow takes place. And there's notifications going to fleet managers. There's notifications going to operations. Lots of different.
Can I take photos on it too? So if it's messed up and I say my front fender has been torn off, the app's like, hey, please send us a pic.
Photos, videos. You can auto dictate. If you don't like typing.
Oh, yeah. No, drivers being very angry when their vehicles, I'm pretty sure auto dictate.
Yeah. It's not censored, so but
They need to know. All right. Well, thank you so much, Tyler. It's great getting to catch up, and I hope to catch up with you again because, this is stuff that it's evergreen. It's important. It is one of the most important things because if your truck doesn't run, all the freight tech in the world can't save you. If you're
That's
on
what I keep saying.
Yeah, if you're on the side of the road. But if folks want to learn more about TTN, get in touch. Best way.
Yeah, go to ttnfleetsolutions.com. There's tons of information on there. You can also reach out to me directly on LinkedIn. I'm on there commonly. Stay safe on the road. Appreciate it, Thomas. It's good. We should talk more about maintenance. We talked about that last night. We need more maintenance.
We're going to get a whole hour to DVIRs and tires. Yeah, and I'll bring up the coils too. I was very near and dear to my heart. Steel coils.
That's good.
All right. Thank you so much, sir.
All right. Thanks, Thomas.
So we're going to be bringing on in a moment our second guest here. We do quick swaps over here at Loaded and Rolling. And if you have the right maintenance, you too can be loaded and rolling. That's right. I made a pun when I created it, and it is still working. All right, let's welcome on our next guest here. We're going to be talking about the concepts of dwell and what to do about it, especially utilization. Let's welcome on Blake Lappan. He's the founder of No Dwell Inc. And this is another fun thing. I'm going to preface this while we bring you on, Blake. I used to be a load planner, and the asset utilization, trailers were the most important thing that we had. And without trailers, you can't do anything. And so this is so cool because your company is tackling not only the trailer and the asset-related problem, but helping drivers. Let's dive in. Tell us about yourself first.
All right. My name is Blake Lappan, and I'm the founder of a couple companies. I have a small carrier called Spot On, and this company, No Dwell. This company here is technology that's designed to do what we're about to speak about. And I'm 21 years in the industry, and I came in 04, and about 5 minutes in, I was a truck driver actually for the first 6 years of my career, and realized what the drop and hook was, and it was like the closest thing to heaven for running trucks that there was, right? It was really a really weird thing to not have that everywhere. Yep. I thought, wow, what? So I've been thinking about this for a hot minute and trying to figure out what to do about it and how to help. And then I became a fleet owner, and it was an exponential problem all of a sudden. It wasn't just my personal problem, not meeting my obligations to my family and my friends or my customers as a one truck guy. It became an exponential issue. So I've really been passionate about it, and the human level of it is what is my why, is how much anxiety and just your family can't depend on you if you can't predict how your live loads are going to go, right? I mean, it's tough.
You got to predict because time is money. And
Right.
if you miss it, it can ruin your entire day. And then that ruins your entire week because it's
It
like
does.
trying to chase the dragon. That happened to me a few times. Lose a day, that's like $500-700.
It dominoes and dominoes and dominoes. We kind of tend to forget about the next couple of days, but it really does hit them.
So let's focus on the thing. This is a twofer because the first part we'll dive into is what your service does for loaded trailers, the process of getting loaded. And we can talk about positioning empty trailers, especially, which is vitally important. It's kind of a yin and a yang. Tell us what your service does for drivers who are either wanting to prevent dwell or handle those loaded or preloaded trailers, and what that does for the companies.
Okay, so basically what we're doing is we're taking what works for the big enterprise fleets and the enterprise shippers, which the drop and hook setup in general, and or the city truck for the carrier that runs around and does the P&D for the line haul trucks, and we're going to bring it to the rest of the market who doesn't have it on a fractional basis. So we all need a city truck. 90% of us are small carriers. We don't have city trucks in every market. Even big carriers don't have city trucks in every market, but they need a city truck in every market. So we're going to sell it to them as they need it. And it's going to be a technology that organizes the sale. And then in the early stages here, which is where we sit today, it will be our trucks providing the service in Kansas City to get this concept oiled out and really well oiled, if you will. Yeah. And anytime somebody needs a tractor to do anything that we haven't had in the past, we're there. So we're not going to do line haul because that would be like a double broker. There'd be a lot of problems with the authority in that with that idea. But as long as we stay in the yard move realm, that's what we're doing. We're doing a yard move. So you said loaded trailers. If you got a loaded trailer in the yard, needs to make a delivery, your plan for it fell through, we'll come over, grab your loaded trailer, make your local delivery, for example.
And then another one would be, I'm running behind on time. I have a live appointment, but I'm going to be a day late. I can reach out to you, and then someone can pick it up and move it to a secure terminal, and then I can come and pick it up and swap it out, or my yard. That's one of the other examples.
Yes, wherever they want to drop it, it doesn't matter to us where it is. We're kind of agnostic to that. We can go anywhere and grab it, whether it's their yard or a truck parking club yard or our yard. Any of those things will work, and we'll go grab, we'll make that delivery so that truck can just go do what it was supposed to do otherwise, right? That delay there doesn't become such a show.
Yep,
that we're chasing our tail, like you say.
And that's one of the big savings because I've tried it before. Getting a large asset carrier to have a local driver, you hire them, you need the truck, you pay for the truck. There's all this overhead. Yeah. What you're providing is a solution where these are already people who are, it's their focus, and you're saving a lot on that front end.
Yes, we're moving our carrier from competing with carriers to supporting carriers.
So let's talk about the empty repositioning as well. Drop trailer pools are one of the most important things. I run into problems. You're talking about Kansas City, right, to start out?
Yes, sir.
So I'm thinking like St. Joseph. Yep. I got some places in like, where's the other one in Kansas City? Edgerton, and I need something in St. Joseph. That's another one where I can reposition trailers, and I would then work with you all to have that set up. And you can actually help reposition assets to save drivers time.
Correct. That's the entire goal, is to move the things around that need to be moved around, whether there's freight in them or no freight in them. They're here and they need to be there. And the plan for it was this, and it fell through, and or we didn't have a plan. So
Yeah.
we weren't going to do it. Now we can say, hey, you can do that now. It's a whole different ballgame. And then we're going to manage exceptions too, because if you're in detention unexpected, we'll just come over and wait it out for you.
Yeah.
Or we'll go pick up your next load you're about to miss because of the detention, to where when you're out of that, you still have your same plan.
It's like if you're out of hours and you get to a truck stop and you know you're going to be stuck, we can swap up.
Absolutely.
And then
But yeah, we'll come get it from the truck stop. Let the driver keep resting, and we'll just come get it from the truck stop and bring it right back empty when we make the delivery, you know?
Talk about some success stories, anything. You've had some, I got to talk to you earlier beforehand, helping out some fleets reposition it. You know, what are any kind of early wins in terms of how you
Yeah. The interesting thing about this is I'm talking about the city truck now. There's also a spotter truck fractionalized idea that works really, really well in an industrial park. So we have a canyon manufacturer in Kansas City, 100-year-old company. They're $50 million a year. They need a spotter for like 2 to 6 hours a day, sporadic.
Yeah.
So that's a really big success. We signed them up for 3 years on a sporadic basis, saying we'll come when you're ready, and we intend to go get neighbors to fill in the gaps and just be in that area servicing those folks only for their needs, and basically allow them to provide a drop and hook where they couldn't otherwise, because they would have to do too much investment, you know? And
So the spotter truck would move the trailers from different facilities until they're ready before the carrier comes, right? Is that
yeah, or go by the facility and say, we'll do your movements for you, because maybe they have the space to park the trailer, but they don't want to buy the truck and have the driver,
Yeah.
right? So we could be that. Or if they don't have a yard, we'll have a yard agnostic to anybody and nearby. They can come in, and their inbounds and outbounds could run through us.
And I think that's really cool because when we're looking ahead at the technology implications, a lot of people are talking about autonomous trucks, hub and spoke. Your platform and your business model is perfectly suited for that
It is.
because it's the same fundamental goal, get it to a terminal, a truck depot, or whatever, the truck port.
Right, exactly. The autonomous trucks are early stage. They're going to need a last mile help, right? And we'll be that. We'll have a place where the autonomous trucks can pull in, separate yard, and let them do their thing, and we can be that last mile for them too,
And
with the trailer.
So starting in Kansas City, where would the best places to expand be? Are there certain places that are more backwards than others in terms of unclogging, so to speak?
Yes, I would say if we're chasing problem, I'd have to do some research on that. If we're chasing the way to scale this thing
Yeah.
quickly, we're going to stay close Midwest. One of the biggest challenges will be traffic in an area. If we're trying to real quickly be city trucks for everybody, we're going to need to figure out a way to do it in LA, Chicago, Houston, New York, right? That's going to be tougher. But almost every other market that has regular traffic or less, we can be in and provide this service. We don't have to have the yard, because we can work off of other folks' yards, like I said, wherever they store their truck or wherever that trailer is, we can just work from there. But for the ones who don't have a yard and don't have parking, Truck Parking Club is a good thing we can help, or repower with the way they're doing trailers. We can help people get trailers to facilitate this until they can get their own extra asset, right? Most of us have more trailers than trucks because we're trying to drop and hook it anywhere we can.
Well, it's like a
Works
3 to 1
really well.
anyway. Yeah,
Right.
3
It should
trailers for
be.
every truck.
Yeah.
if you do.
Yeah, it should be for most carriers, yeah.
Is it an app, a desktop? So let's walk through the process of how the nuts and bolts of it. Is it kind of like a mobile app where I place the order, or tell me about that?
Software platform, and we're going to be API friendly and try to make it as quick and easy across the board for TMSs to quickly decide to do this and have it be facilitated automatically behind the scenes, tendered out. It'll work a lot like a ride share. If you think about when we order ride share and it gives us an option of what car, when, all the things, right? We've got all of our friends with us. We need the big car, whatnot. This is the same idea. What service do you need? Do you need to reposition an empty? Do you need to have us deliver one? And you select that, and then it gives you real pricing algorithm. It gives you real-time data on what we can do with the capacity we have in that market at that time, no different than a ride share.
Is it one of those things where you're like, for tracking and stuff as well, am I gonna like stare at this guy real time, or is it more of like, hey, in the route, picked up, in transit? Is there any kind of customer demands on the tracking end, or is it more, I mean, it's trailers.
Yeah, well, fully customizable. If they want to be bothered by data, we'll give them data every minute if they want it, right? If they want to say, just let me know the important parts like you just mentioned,
Yeah.
that's what they can do. We'll just make it very, very flexible. The whole idea here is flexibility in that last mile or in that exception management situation where we've never had an option before.
Yeah.
Right? Like we'd have to call a power-only company and hope they have a truck sitting there. And that's almost never. And if they're doing the right thing for
Or you
themselves.
pay a carrier, I'd use a brokerage to do a power-only move, and you're paying them 2 times the trip, and they would try to double dip,
Yeah.
and then like,
Load it or do whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we've had Swift, of all people, they've got a giant terminal in Kansas City. They've needed us to reposition a trailer from, enterprise customer A to enterprise customer B because they didn't have
Yeah.
And that's actually shocked me as a proof of concept. It's like, oh, wow, okay. Everybody needs it sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
Right? They're repositioning trailers all day, I'm sure, with their 30 city trucks. But they need 30.1 sometimes, right?
Yep.
And they need to, so we just want to fractionalize it and make it affordable for every single carrier to have an opportunity to set up a drop and hook when they can't. And then there's the places that do drop and hook, but if you don't haul enough out of there, they're not going to let you leave your trailer there.
yeah.
They don't have enough room. And so even that situation, you can now drop and hook there because we'll go do that for you. So you'll get the equivalent of a drop and hook because it'll be ready for you because we went and did the pickup,
Help with overflow.
Yeah, the intent is to say, plan ahead when you come to Kansas City. Bring your inbound to us. We will deliver it tomorrow. We've already picked up your outbound because you told us where it was, and you come to 1 yard and you do a 30-minute drop and hook, and that 30% of time that drivers waste every day waiting for their appointment time, right, statistically,
Yep.
is now going down the highway.
Man, that was my biggest pain point because either the terminal had no empty trailers, the enterprise customer you dropped at had no empty, you bobtail out, and then now you're playing Where's Waldo going to 3 other enterprise customers asking if you have an empty trailer.
Right,
You remove all of that.
right. Yeah, if the carrier knows where it is, we can get it put where it needs to be, right? So, and then eventually we have a trailer rental arm potentially to where we actually provide them.
Yeah.
Not only help them go find them and move them, but we provide them for the smaller carrier that's like, hey, I come to Kansas City, but I want to use your exception management, not plan ahead drop. So I don't want to have a trailer sitting there just in case I need you. We need to have an option there. And like I say, we're going to lean on Repower a little bit for that and other companies that are doing stuff like that. Those guys are doing really cool stuff over there and really complimentary to us.
That's the coolest thing. This is stuff I wish I had when I was in operations because, oh my God, I'd have a lot more hair.
I'm
if I-
telling you, I don't know why it's not happening, right?
Yeah.
I don't know why. I was shocked when I finally came up with how to iterate this thing out that I didn't find it. So we're really excited about doing it and looking for partners to do it as quickly as possible.
Speaking of finding, folks want to learn more, get in contact, best way.
Yeah, Blake Lappan on LinkedIn is the best way. That's pretty much the only social media I'm rocking on right now. We're doing a lot of building, a lot of we're grinding our faces off right now to make this happen and really excited to bring it to market. So we're looking for partnerships. We're looking for people who do business in and out of Kansas City to practice this and get really good at it and build the tech around that.
Perfect. Blake, thanks so much for your time.
Thank you very much for everything you're doing. Have a good one.
That's going to be a wrap for today's show. But if you're just joining us, it will be on demand, Apple, Spotify, and YouTube at a later date. That's going to be it for this special edition episode. But I will join you next time. Stay classy. I need a better catchphrase.